And I think we'll just get started. Hopefully Alyssa will figure out her audio issue. So this is the Historic District Commission. The date is April 8th, 2021. The time is 4:17. This meeting was noticed in the Fairfield Citizen on March 26th. And can we take attendance? Start with Art.
Art Bravanis, Commissioner.
Jim, are you there?
Jim Bohan, James P. Bohan, alternate commissioner with impaired video, no video.
Okay, thank you. And Alyssa Stack is present, but she's unable to communicate at the moment. And I'm Adam Cliver, Commissioner. And absent today is Chris Shea, John Raymond Locke, Rosina Negron, and George Clark are absent today. So all the alternates will be voting Alyssa and Jim on this, on every item. So the first item on the agenda is Town of Fairfield, 75 Mill Plain Road in Fairfield, for property located at 785 Harper Road in Southport. And the application is to extend existing kayak storage rack 9 feet to add 12 additional kayak storage spaces at Yacht Yard. Do we have someone here to present for the Town of Fairfield?
Yes, this is Justin Cathcart, Marina Coordinator for the Town of Fairfield. Can you hear me?
Yes, hi Justin.
How you doing? Yes, as I said, I'm the Marina Coordinator for the Town of Fairfield, and would like to get permission to extend the kayak rack there at Yacht Yard 9 feet so that we can add some additional kayak rack storage. We currently have 20 spaces there in the current rack system, and I have a wait list right now we're estimating to be over 100 years, as it's a quite popular place to bring a kayak, but slow turnover for those spaces.
Okay, do you have any, can you present the application? Do you have the electronic file to present to the commission?
I have it on the other, I thought that since it was emailed to you guys, that you would be able to pull it up. I don't have the capability to present it on this laptop, unfortunately.
Okay, I'll pull it up.
Okay, thank you.
Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, just walk us through what you'd like to do.
All right, so if you look over on the left-hand side, that shows both the current rack and then the area that we would like to add the 3 additional vertical, or the additional 9 feet for the additional kayak racks. It'll, over on the side, you can see how it's going to be a similar design to the existing kayak racks that are there. So it'll just blend right in. It'll just be about 9 feet. It'll extend an additional 9 feet there. Happy to answer any questions if you guys. That is the area, correct.
Okay.
And so that's the photos right there. That's the photo of the current existing rack. Like I said, it'll go, when you're looking at that top picture, it'll go 9 feet to the right of that, which will still leave about, I believe it's about 5 feet of clearance between the trees to the north of the racks that are there right now. So, and then we've just added the material that we'll be using, which is going to be just standard pressure treated wood, similar to the existing rack.
Okay. Art, do you have any questions?
Can't hear anything.
Art? Art, do you have any questions?
No questions.
Jim, you have no questions, okay. Alyssa, do you have any questions? No? Art, you're muted. Okay. Art, are you having problems, Art, with your audio? Can anyone hear me?
I can hear you.
Just sorry, we're having some technical difficulties with the commissioners. Not sure what's going on, but we have
Nope.
hopefully we'll sort it out in a second.
No problem. And I believe RTM was having an issue with WebMX last night as well.
Oh, really?
Yes.
What happened?
I think they were just having issues with video and audio. I don't know any of the details, but just heard that there was some technical difficulties.
Art, can you hear me?
like in the donut.
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah. It's me.
Okay, so you back?
Yeah. I don't know what happened.
Okay.
The volume just went poof.
Okay. Well, so do you have any questions on the 785
Not for the
Harper
town.
Road? Yeah.
No, not
Any
for the
questions?
yard. No, thank you.
Okay. Thank you. And Jim has no questions, right?
No questions.
Okay. And Alyssa is not with us at the moment. And I do not have any questions, and I did not receive any letters in favor of this application. I did not receive any letters opposing this application, so the hearing's closed. Thank you, Justin.
Thank you very much. We'll appreciate being able to add this to the town.
Yep. Okay, second item on the agenda, Old South Road LLC, 171 Old South Road in Southport for property located at 171 Old South Road in Southport. The application is to change previously approved columns.
Adam, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Jack.
Great. I'm going to share my screen here. Can you see that?
No.
Okay. How about now?
There you go.
Okay. Good afternoon. I'm Jack Franson. I'm representing Fred Ryan on this application. And before I begin, I just want to apologize to the commission. The contractor had been using the wrong kind of trim on the house. And the explanation I got was they saw some previous use of AZAC from the previous owner, or maybe even before that. So they just went ahead and put AZAC moldings. They began doing the rakes and the dormers. And I believe on Monday, one of the building officials came over there and spoke with the super, but he was already, I think, in the process of changing it out. And I went there this morning. It's all been removed from the areas where I saw it before. And he sent me an email reassuring me that they're going to use wood from now on. So I just, hate to waste your time with stuff like this. It was on the drawings as wood. We told them it was supposed to be wood, but whatever got down to the subcontractor level apparently didn't get there. Anyway, for today, it's pretty basic. It boils down to Mr. Ryan prefers square columns to round columns. And nothing's really that simple, of course, because if you have an 8-inch round column and you change it to an 8-inch square column, it's going to look much bigger. So what we are proposing here, we split the difference, and we're proposing they're basically 7-inch columns that taper to 5.5 at the top, so that they'll when they're dead on, they're going to appear to be a little more slender than the round columns would have. But when you look at them at a 45-degree angle, they're going to look a little bit bigger than an 8-inch column. So, but I think they're appropriate. I don't think, square or round is, I feel they're interchangeable in colonial revival architecture. So the columns that we're ordering are coming from Somerset. They're all wood. They make very good columns, and the style, which is the Tuscan Doric style, is the same as what was approved. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you, Jack. Art, questions?
None for me, Adam. Thank you.
Okay. Alyssa? No questions? Jim?
None. Thank you very much, Jack.
Thank you.
Okay. And I have no questions. Regarding the AZAC trim, it's on the main gable, right? The rakes?
It was
and
on
the
the
eaves?
main, all the rakes and the eaves and the dormers and the front porch. I think they'd
And the
even.
dormers.
I went there this morning and it was all taken off.
Okay,
And
great.
if you want, I'll send
Well, I
you the
appreciate
email
that.
I got from the builder assuring us that he was going to do it the right way.
Okay. No, I appreciate that. It's, I'll stop by and take a look too at some point. Okay.
Great.
I don't have any questions regarding the columns. And I didn't receive any letters in favor of this application, and I didn't receive any letters opposing this application. So the hearing's closed. Thank you, Jack.
Thank you.
And the next item on the agenda is Matthew and Amanda Pardee, 581 Pequot Avenue in Southport for property located at 581 Pequot Avenue in Southport for a second floor addition, B, remove portion of existing stairs, and C, AC unit with evergreen plantings.
Good afternoon. It's Jack Franson again. I'm representing Matt and Amy, Amanda Pardee. And on the application, it has Matt spelled with one T. I believe it's with two T's, just for the record. The application today, what we're trying to do here is to build an addition that will accomplish a number of different things. We're proposing an addition to the second floor of the house. The house is located on the south side of Pequot. It's between Chester and Center Streets. And in the book, the handbook, it's described as Greek Revival / vernacular. And it's dated as having been built in around 1840. One of the character defining elements of the house is the narrow frieze board below the eave. The frieze is differentiated from the lower wall, which is clapboard, and the frieze has windows in it. It's unusual because this type of Greek Revival house, I'm not seeing a lot of them in New England, but they're extremely common in upstate New York. And I have an example of one of these houses from the McAllister Handbook, Guide to American Homes, which shows you the typical arrangement where there's a frieze, flush boards on the top and clapboard below, and windows, that are stacked over the first floor windows. The large garage was built in the 1970s, and it was built by the Estelles, who were the owners at that time, and they took pains to match the detailing on the house. And see if I can get a picture of it here. Here you can see, it's hard to see the garage, but the garage has the same frieze detail as the house. This is the 1840 piece here. In 1986, there was a one-story addition that was built on the rear of the house. It has archtop French doors, pairs of archtop French doors. And what we're proposing to do is to try to connect a number of things. Try to connect the second floor to the, there's a suite above the garage, a very nice bedroom suite, and it's a dead end. You go up the stairs right now, and it's unto itself. What we're trying to do is create a stair that'll wrap around so they can connect to the existing second floor. And we're also planning to build an addition on top of the existing one-story addition on the back, and to marry the roofs of these two additions. So this is an L-shaped addition. The part that runs parallel to Pequot is here. The part that runs 90 degrees to Pequot is here. And you can see what we did is we stacked the new roof line on top of the garage and stepped it back. I think the addition is stepped back 16 feet from the main house, and it's stepped back 2.5 feet from the existing garage. And you can see the view as you would see it from, I guess it would be from the east. And then you can see what's happening on the rear. You see the part with the frieze wrapping around and the addition that's going on top of this existing one-story addition. And I have a rendering here that sort of shows you what it would look like from if you were driving on Pequot Avenue towards Southport Beach. The plans also show proposed changes to the two-story porch on the rear, but we are not asking for approval on that at this time. And the reason is because of FEMA, we're probably not going to be able to do the whole project because of the amount of money you can spend on the work, the scope of work. So this work that's shown as proposed, we're going to, if we're successful in this application, we'll probably come back in a couple of years to get this approved, because what we're planning to do is build out the additions. And the way that FEMA regs work, you're only allowed to build 50% of the fair market value of the structure. The detailing on the Pequot facade is going to match exactly what's on the old house with the frieze board and the eave cornice and the differentiation of siding. Same thing on the back. The detailing of the rear gable will be all clapboard, but the sides of that will be will have the frieze detail. You can see here. The materials, they're all going to be, all the exterior materials are going to be wood. The siding, the trim, and the roof shingles. The windows will be wood SDL. The flashings will be copper. In conjunction with the project, we need to add an air conditioning unit. So there's a condensing unit that's been proposed to go alongside an existing one. And you can see it right here, my cursor is. And I have a photo of where that is on the site. So I think the existing air conditioning unit is behind these bushes, and the new one will go adjacent to that, and we'll make sure it's screened with evergreens. And part of the application that we need to have approved is we need to remove about 3 feet of the steps, the monumental steps on the back of the house. And I'm not showing it on the architectural plans because this was something that came up with zoning at the last minute, but I need to remove 3 feet of steps right here. And it shows on this, it shows on the survey, if you can see it, if you blow it up, you'll see that Huntington showed that as a note here. And the reason for that is to balance out, there's a small cantilever on the addition over here. I think it's like 12 square feet, and we can't exceed the coverage of what's there now. So we want to remove that. And I have a picture of that as well. That's right here. So what we want to do is cut it off flush with the trim at that point. And I don't believe, you could see it from a public way if there weren't a privacy shrub there. So I think it's very unlikely that anyone will ever see that. And if they did, they would never know that it was different on the other side of the porch. What they did on the other side looks like this. So I also noticed that when they built this, they didn't put a railing on the side that we need to remove. So if it would be possible for you to stipulate that we just add an identical railing to the side where we're removing the steps, that would save me a trip back to your commission. I think I covered everything. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thanks, Jack. Alyssa?
I don't have any questions. Thanks.
Jim?
I'm at a disadvantage, Jack. I have no video. What, are you changing the lot coverage at all with this modification?
No, that's the idea. Because I think it's
Okay.
over the coverage already. So the whole idea was not to increase the coverage.
Okay, thank you. No
And
other questions.
there would be other ways of doing this by increasing the coverage or by just making the garage a lot bigger. You know, if I raised the garage up to here, it would be real easy. But the garage is already almost the size of the house. So I'm really do not want to make the garage any bigger than it already is.
Understand.
The good news is the
Thanks,
garage
Jeff.
is set back, so that helps.
Art, do you have any questions?
No, thanks, Adam.
Okay. I don't have any questions either. Because the house is non-conforming, you're required to get a variance?
No, because we were
Do
able to zero out the coverage, you know, with the 12 square feet of cantilever. That's why we're asking to take that section of 3 feet off the steps, so it zeroes out the coverage.
Okay. Is that back area even visible?
What's that?
Is that back area, you know, like the stair, I guess, to the right side that's remaining, is that visible from a public way? It seems like it's pretty tucked in away in there.
Yeah, the side that already has a railing you cannot see.
Okay. All right, that's all the questions I have. And I did not receive any letters in favor of this application. I didn't receive any letters opposing this application. So the hearing's closed. Thank you, Jack.
Thank you, Adam.
Next item on the agenda is Richard Mervis, 249 Old South Road in Southport, for property located at 249 Old South Road in Southport. And the application is to install a 6-foot cedar privacy fence along east and north property lines.
Greetings.
Hello. I am on my way home, but I'm still looking into this meeting, so.
Okay.
Who's that? Christina, are you presenting for this? Can't hear. You're muted.
Okay. Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
How about now? Hello?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
I swear, every time I do this, there's some sort of problem.
I know.
Okay. Okay, I am Christina Gates. I'm the landscape architect representing Richard Mervis in our application for the privacy fence at his property at 249 Old South Road. I'm going to share my screen. So let's see, share, and I go to desktop. How do I share my screen here, Adam? Oh, here we go. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Okay, can you see that?
Yes.
All right. Okay. So our application is for a 6-foot privacy fence. This is the detail of the privacy fence. It's a 4-inch vertical tongue and groove board fence with 3 horizontal boards on one side and just 2 on the other, as you can see in the section. This horizontal board is only on the homeowner side, and the nice side goes to the neighbor. It's a pretty standard privacy fence. It has a chamfered top on the post, which matches the gate details that we presented last month for their pool fencing. And this is a similar style privacy fence, not exactly the same, but similar style, different caps, but it's similar, which I wanted to show that. Here are some other kind of precedent fences in Southport. And let me show you the site plan. There we go. Okay. So this is where my cursor is. That is Old South Road, and this is Pequot. So they're on the corner lot. The privacy fence would start here, where there's an approved welded wire mesh fence that goes with this gate. So this privacy fence would start right here. It would travel down to the corner and down to this point. There's an existing fence that goes a little bit farther, but we're going to stop it right here this time. And then there's a gate here and a gate here. So it's pretty straightforward. Some site photos. This is the section where it would kind of start right along here, and it would run back into that corner and travel along the back of the property. This is that back line of the property here, and where their driveway is. And this is the view from Pequot down here in this slide, where the privacy fence would go. So pretty straightforward. I'd be happy to review any questions if anybody has any at this time.
Thank you, Christina. Art, do you have any questions?
No, thanks, Adam.
Okay. Jim?
No questions.
Thank you. Alyssa?
I do have a question. So it looks like there is a shorter fence in the front of the house. How that's staying, and you're just adding the privacy fence around the back? Did I understand that correctly?
Are you referring to this one right here, where my cursor
I'm
is?
referring to the photo in the top right. There's a shorter fence.
This one.
Yeah.
That one.
So are you?
So that
yes.
is. No, that's the existing picket that goes along Old South Road. So that does not get touched. That stays.
That does not get touched. Okay. Okay, that's all. Thanks.
So Alyssa, just to clarify, on the site plan, right up here, this is the picket along the top of Old South Road, which stays. And then the pool enclosure is down here. So this is a hedge with a gate, and the privacy fence starts here. The other picket that you saw here, that is the neighbor's picket. So we can't touch that.
Right. Okay, that's helpful. Thank you.
Okay.
So a question I have is the fence going to be natural or painted?
Natural, cedar.
Okay, natural cedar. Great. No other questions. Did not receive any letters in favor of this application. I did not receive any letters opposed this application, so the hearing's closed. Thank you.
All right. Of course. Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is Mr. and Mrs. Robert Wright, 260 Harper Road in Southport for property located at 260 Harper Road in Southport. And the application is for A, new path lighting, B, new landscape lighting, and C, change selected items of exterior trim on new addition from painted wood to painted PVC.
Okay, hello. I'm John Wazalewski. I'm with David Scott Parker Architects, and I'm representing the owners of 260 Harper Road, Robert and Susan Wright. And I'm going to go ahead and start a screen share. Okay. All right. I know many of you are already familiar with the property. We had presented lighting, landscape lighting at the previous hearing. This is a copy of the previous plan, just so you can remember what we started from. The feedback that I got at that meeting was that while the path lights were okay. There were just too many of the other landscape lights. So the current proposal is we have left the path lights and we cut down everything else visible from a public way by more than half. So at this point in time, there's path lighting across the front and along this walkway here. There's a couple right at the front gate, and there are a few along this path here. There's also a couple of high up down lights that are high up in the tree that would be pointing down, just giving a little bit of illumination in the front. It's quite dark, and there is some equipment on the side of the building. There's also a couple of lights up high that would be hidden in the tree that would give a little bit of illumination to the driveway and to this back path area. There are existing path lights at the house. These are images of those. I think actually in this back path area, they're going to be fewer. We have fewer fixtures than what's here presently, so we're reducing the number of fixtures. There are also currently uplights scattered throughout the yard, and they are concealed in the foliage. These are larger. The lights themselves, the fixtures, aren't shielded, and they are of a greater intensity than what is being proposed. This again are the fixtures that are proposed. These two, there are some uplights in the back. The ones that are in the front of the property are only being as down lights, and they are up in the trees. They're small and discreet, and each of these are 8 watts. These little ring mount trees, which there are a few here where we have the green triangle symbol, those are only 2 watts each. So all of these fixtures are fairly low intensity and certainly less bright than the ones that they already have. Just to give you a picture, that this is one of the trees that they're talking of putting some downlights in, and this is the other. And so these are quite tall. They'd be up quite high. They would be aimed away from the street, and they would be, because of their distance from that to the ground, their actual impact in terms of light level would be fairly low. You can see here, this is a pathway where where we would have path lights going up to the back. This is the one going to the front door, and there are some lights in the back here that would give some general and again low level illumination to this back path area. The second part of the application relates to some exterior trim. Now, it did say on our drawings that all of the trim was wood to match existing. The builder mistakenly used a PVC product in select locations. And so just to tell you where those locations are, we're talking about the corner boards here, the eave and rake moldings, and the kind of entablature moldings around the top of the bay. Nothing that was, none of the windows are all wood, and anything that had not yet been installed, which would include these panels and any other trim and any window casings, those would all be wood. This is what the house looks like as of this morning, or yeah, this was this morning. So these are wood, the trim around these are wood. The trim in question is here and here, and then along the side. And you can see that here. I think the one thing I wanted to point out is that these are still all custom moldings. They were milled to match the existing trim on the house. So even though they're PVC, they're not, these are not out of the box. You can get a better picture of that here and here. And you can see, you know, once this is painted, it's essentially indistinguishable from what, you know, what it would look like if it were wood trim. And again, this is along the side, so it's these moldings here. None of the other moldings that are going here are not yet installed, nor are the window casings, and of course the windows are all wood. And I just, to be clear what we're talking about. So when we talk about PVC products, there's a lot of different things around. So this is actually a PVC door. And you can see in this case, the moldings are not crisp and they're hollow and they're backed with styrofoam. In this case, these are solid and are crisply molded and milled as they would have been if they were wood. I'm presenting this at the request of the builder. He has said he is, although he certainly is not eager to replace the trim, he's prepared to do so if it's not, and to do it promptly if required to do so. But in as much as it doesn't, there's a big difference between this kind of a PVC detail and what we actually have in the house and what the impact would be visually from the street and for longevity. He requested that I make this petition. And if anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Thank you, John. Art?
No questions, Adam.
Alyssa?
I do not have any questions.
Okay, Jim?
No questions. Thank you.
Okay. I guess, I'm curious, like I can't imagine that the existing site lighting was approved by the commission. I know we wouldn't have approved uplighting, so probably the previous owner must have done it sort of.
The one thing I would say is that the house has been here for quite some time, and I did talk, this is an aside, and but David Parker was on the commission from the late 90s until 2004 or somewhere around that time. He mentioned at that time that site lighting was seldom, as long as the fixtures themselves were concealed or were discreet, the commission had a position at that point in time where the light itself was seen as a temporary impact. So things that were not, where you would not physically see the fixture or where it was not a permanent effect of the historic structure itself were not ruled on by HDC at that point in time. And he made it also analogous to something like painting, which in the state of Connecticut, the law is written such that painting is not approved. And that does actually, in a much more permanent way, physically change one's impression of what a building is, whereas light is a temporal thing that can be turned on and off with a switch. So it's quite possible it was presented, and because they were hidden in the foliage, they would have been approved, or they might have been approved. But there was a different, back in the day when Bob Hatch had a strong feeling about it, and it came from that tradition of that time where site lighting was not just automatically disapproved because there had a different reading of the impact of lighting on the historic fabric of the community. And in fact, I did look,
I can see how
for whatever it's worth, I looked at the Secretary of State's standards and their guidelines, and I looked for anything regarding, which is that is the inspiration for the historic regulations. And although they do have commentary about painting, which Connecticut does not follow, they didn't actually have anything in there about site lighting or lighting of buildings.
Right. Well, I can see how that scenario is possible. But the position of the commission probably has evolved over time, and I know the time that I've been on the commission, it's been I think site lighting has been frowned upon. So I think that's sort of the position that the commission is, uplighting the trees and excessive site lighting has been discouraged. And we've definitely, there are several houses that have we've taken out, most of the site lighting. So, well, I think that's the position of the commission right now.
Yeah. So the only thing I would say is, we weren't given the direction we were given after. There are a couple of things. One is that the regulations, if you read them, are not super clear. It doesn't say no uplighting. It talks about safety and it talks about low intensity. It does, however, I just as feedback and in fairness to clients, whenever we make a presentation like this, it's quite expensive for people. And we were given the direction of there are too many lights. So we cut down the amount of lights significantly. We weren't, the feedback I got wasn't no up lights, it was that there are too many lights. So we reduced the number of light fixtures by more than half. And so if the answer is, no lighting at all, then I would just like to have some clarity so that if I am going back to to give my client to manage their expectations and, give them some reasonable direction so that they know, how they can proceed.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that. I mean, the handbook's pretty clear that that lighting shouldn't intrude on adjacent properties.
Agreed.
Use of spotlights, other intense lighting generally discourage of private buildings and structures. Such lighting and appropriate wattage, intensity. There have been.
And all, I don't disagree with any
low
of those
intensity
points.
spotlighting in private buildings and structures is needed for security or safety reasons. Should be recessed soffit lighting. Low intensity spotlighting in private buildings and structures is needed for evening illumination of the flag. Lighting should be of appropriate intensity and focus on the flag and not the surrounding property. Spotlighting of low intensity is not discouraged of public buildings and structures. Historic Commission recognized it. I mean, I see what your point is. I think it's been pretty clear from the commission standpoint that we don't like to have the trees lit up and the whole, it's really more path lighting and stuff like that. And I think you have reduced the lighting quite a bit, obviously. I do worry about having, two lights on that front trees, just that's, 30 feet up in the air, looking down, or I don't know how high the light fixtures themselves are going to be.
Well, they will be pointed.
How high are they going to be in that tree?
They're fairly high. They're probably 15 to 20 feet up, maybe a little more. It's a pretty high canopy. I would say they're pointing away from the street and away from adjacent property lines, so you wouldn't see them. The whole idea is, and they're shielded, so when you're at the street, you wouldn't see the light source. That's pretty, and 100% agree. They need to not spill over onto the street, the sidewalk, or the adjacent properties. That's no question. I have the ones that are in the front of the building really are for safety. The driveway is very dark, as is the pathways and the areas where they're going to have equipment on the side of the building. And in the back area, we're also in an area that has informal pathways. So, it gives some general illumination back there, but in a less formal way than one would have with path lighting. And in fact, they're reducing the number of path lights from which are very visible and make a very, path lights are actually make a much more noticeable visual pattern and imprint and than very subtle accent lighting might cause, and they're reducing the amount of path lights. So again, we're really trying to work with you, and again, these are low intensity fixtures, which are less than what they have presently. So
okay. Well, we'll have to talk about it as a commission. Regarding the PVC trim, I think you're pretty aware of our position when it comes to that. I mean,
yep.
I think we're pretty pretty set on the fact that PVC trim is inappropriate for anything in this storage. I mean, I agree with you that it looks, once it's painted, and it's going to look, you'll never be able to tell. But unfortunately, that's not the point. And when we start making exceptions because somebody put it up when they shouldn't have, then we're just open up a can of worms there. So
completely understand.
Anyway, is there anything else? I didn't receive any letters in favor of this application. I did not receive any letters against this application. So the hearing's closed. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is Preet and Vikram Bhutanese, 480 Old Post Road in Fairfield, for property located at 480 Old Post Road in Fairfield. And the application is for A, an arbor on gate to backyard, and B, remove chain link fence and replace with cedar fence 4 foot high.
Hello, hi Adam. Hello everybody.
Hello.
I'm just going to share my screen really quick.
All right, can you just introduce yourself for the record?
Sorry. Yeah, I'm Vikram Bhutanese. My wife and I own the property at Old Post Road. I don't think I'm able to share. It's not letting me share my desktop for some reason.
Okay. Would you like me to share it?
If you don't mind.
Okay, hang on.
So,
Okay.
yeah, second page. The arbor is on the fence in between the house and the garage. It's better in the actual photograph. Adam, if you could just go to the first photograph right there. That's the arbor. The fence was put a while back and we've added the arbor to it. And the chain link fence, so that's that. I don't know, there's not much more I can say about that. The chain link fence was on the yeah, if you go back to the drawing, I can so it was on the private driveway that goes from Old Post Road to the extracts house and the other neighbor's house in the back. And there was a chain link fence there all along. We put a privacy cedar fence when we put a pool last year. And then the part of the fence that goes from Old Post Road just up to the side of the house, we reduced it from 6 feet to 4 feet. But it's all cedar fence. It's unpainted. It's natural cedar. And that's what we've put over there. So any questions?
Okay. Anything else to add now? Art, do you have any questions?
No, thank you, Adam.
Okay. Jim, do you have any questions?
No questions.
Alyssa, do you have any questions?
I don't have any questions.
Okay. I do have some questions. So it seems like, and I have a few letters that I'm going to read into the record from your neighbors regarding this situation. I mean, I don't think I have a problem with the arbor, except the fact that it was put in without approval. What I do have a problem with is the fact that this, and this is an oversight on my part, the commission's part, that there was literally the chain link fence ran from this point all the way up to the front, right? And it was
Right.
It was much higher up until the front of the house, and then it became lower as it went, that section where it says B.
The chain link fence was always 6 feet the whole length. It was a black
Okay,
chain
well,
link
maybe
fence.
it was.
Yeah, 6 feet tall.
I thought it looked like it was, I could have sworn it got shorter up front.
No, I mean, from what I remember, yeah,
I think it
there
does
was
get
lots of, yeah.
I mean, I can see it's up here, but then down here it's lower. So that's my recollection anyway. But anyway, you didn't get approval to remove that chain link fence.
Right.
So this entire fence from this back property line all the way to the Old Post Road has been changed without approval. It says on here, chain link fence. So I'm not sure, and that was an oversight that I didn't realize that you replaced the whole fence and we didn't approve that. And then I went back and looked at your previous application from last June, and it shows that indeed that this was not part of the application. It clearly says it's the back and the side, and then this section was extended, which you came back and got approval to extend it.
That
in itself is it.
That was a privacy fence
That in
for
itself
the
is a
pool,
problem,
right? That was a
but this
privacy
wasn't
fence.
approved.
I'm sorry?
It was never approved by the commission to be taken down and replaced.
That entire fence, that was all a part of the application for the pool. That when we put it in, it was a cedar fence all along.
I looked at the previous application and the description. I'll pull it up for you. Hang on. Okay. So this is your application, right? From June of 2020. Install pool code fencing around property.
Correct.
So here it says chain link fence, right?
Right.
Here it says proposed pool compliant fence to be installed.
Right. Right.
So if I go down to the description, and it says talks about a 6 foot high, cedar privacy fence installed along rear property line and left side of property line, reaching back of the garage, and then a 5 foot high cedar square picket fencing.
Right.
But it doesn't say anything about the right side of the property. Right? It says 4 foot high pool code wire mesh attached to existing chain link fencing on right side of property to meet CT state law pool code requirements. That's what was approved.
After this, and obviously this has gone on almost a year now, Adam, we had conversations on in the meetings where I said that we replaced the fence with cedar fence because the neighbors on that side whose private driveway it is, they were more than happy that we replace it with cedar fence all around because we were replacing the other two sides. And when you came out and you visited, we had put the cedar fence all along that driveway already. And that's when we had the conversation about if we lower the fence towards the street, then it would not be so obtrusive, or I forget the right word used, but the point was so that from the house to the street, if you reduced it to 4 feet, it would be okay. The rest of the fence was fine. The cedar fence between the house and the private driveway was something that we did because we thought we were doing a favor to the neighbors because the chain link fence was falling apart, and the chain link fence obviously would not meet privacy requirements for the pool.
Well, okay, and this is why I'm saying it's my fault that it fell through the cracks, that I didn't realize that what had happened. But clearly, going back, it's been brought to my attention that what has happened was not approved, and now I'm coming back and telling you that it wasn't approved, and we're gonna have to just deal with it.
Okay.
I can't just approve it on the side. That's not how it works.
Okay, no.
It has to go through the commission.
I'm not asking you to approve it on the side. I think the last time I was here in the fall, I was told that there's no way we will ask you to remove the cedar fence and put chain link fence, because we can't have chain link fence on Post Road if there's a new fence going in. Because the other gentleman, I forget his name, who was on the commission, said that we don't want you to put the chain link fence back. This was when one of the neighbors complained about the front of the house.
I agree. I mean, I don't think the chain link fence is appropriate either, but that's not, I mean, it needs to go through the right channels. I can't, you know,
Okay.
we just have to go through the process, and you sort of gone around the process and just put up the fence, and now we have to go back and either get it approved or maybe it's not, I don't know if it's going to be approved or not, but the commission has to decide. And
Okay. So,
okay.
so what, okay, so I guess tell me what you need me to do. I'm more than happy to do it, I guess.
Well, and let me read the letters from your neighbors in the record first. It's going to be a little while. So the first letter is from Dr. Henry Backey. Dear Chairman Cliver and fellow HTC commissioners, thank you for allowing me to read these to have this email read, entered into the record, and considered by you for the current application regarding 480 Old Post Road, Fairfield, Connecticut. This property is known as the Sherman Parsonage and is one of the most historic and noteworthy dwellings in the Old Post Road Historic District. I'm writing you yet again regarding the previous application and now the current application for approval of an arbor that was erected and 4-foot cedar fence that was also erected without HTC approval. The current owners, contractors, disregarded the fence plans that were approved on their initial application and subsequent decisions your commission made. I attached photos and a chain of applications and HTC decisions that documents the current cedar fence running the entire length of the east side of the property has never been approved and was previously denied. This cedar fence was never removed. In November, the application to alter an unapproved front portion of the fence was also denied without prejudice. The owner's fence contractors did not follow the approved plan from the June 9th, 2020 HTC meeting, and without approval erected a cedar fence that was not on the application. A mesh addition to the chain link fence was approved on the eastern property line. This cedar fence was subsequently cut down for about 20 feet in the front of the house of the eastern property line. It is now a fourth fence type and a higher height from the other fences in a very small area. It does not line up with either the wrought iron fence or the picket fence that border the street. The utilitarian board fence is not appropriate this close to the road. There are no other board fences that come out to the street on this block. This detracts from the streetscape and the historic setting of the Sherman Parsonage. Per the HTC handbook, board fences were not typical of 1800 federal-style houses. These utilitarian fences should be used for interior lot fencing. It would be more appropriate to change the low cedar board fence to a picket fence that matches the house's street side fencing, or just remove that section back to the high gated picket fence on the eastern side of the house. Although there is a tree in the fence line that could cause a minor problem and not a hardship, since no fence is required by code, the fence could stop at the tree and start on the other side. Or just be erected around the tree. Another alternative would be to replace the chain link fence with another chain link fence or wire mesh that could be concealed with a low hedge and not visible from the street. This fence should be the same height as the other fences. There are a few examples where this is present on the same block of the Old Post Road. Although the arbor was also never approved and, in my opinion, not appropriate for this style house, I leave it to your expertise to deem whether it is appropriate or not. I would ask you to deny this application and have the owners return with an application that addresses all the violations present and one that has a historically and architecturally appropriate fence on the eastern property line. Thank you for your continued time and efforts towards preserving the historic nature of our town. Sincerely, Dr. Henry Backey, 388 Old Post Road, Fairfield, Connecticut. Dear Mr. Cliver and HTC Commissioners, we hope you'd be able to read and enter into record this email regarding the application for fence approval at 480 Old Post Road. As abutting neighbors, we have been pleased with the upgrades made to the Sherman parsonage, which has never looked better. We are happy to see the old chain link fence removed from the eastern property line as it was falling down in an eyesore. We do think the 40-foot east-facing cedar fence is appropriate from the house line to the back of the property. Our concern lies with the cedar fence that abuts the old post road. Even at its current lower 20-foot height, it detracts from the streetscape in our historic district. There are no other fences of this type on the street. A picket fence or wrought iron fence would be a better choice for this small section that meets up the Old Post Road. There are examples of both fence types on the Old Post Road. Many thanks for your dedication and commitment to keeping our historic district preserved and generations to come. Best regards, Karen and Bill Wingett, 458 Old Post Road in Fairfield. Dear Chairman, Clyburn, HGC Commissioners, I'm writing a response and in full support of Dr. Henry Backey's email to you dated 4/5/2021 regarding the current application for a certificate of appropriateness of fence and arbor installations at 480 Old Post Road. I request that you please read this email today at the hearing and have it entered into today's record. My husband and I have resided at 363 Old Post Road for over 30 years, and I have been before the Commission numerous times. We appreciate the HGC's dedications towards safeguarding and preserving the visual integrity of our neighborhood. As described in the HGC Historic District and Properties Handbook, the Old Post Road Historic District is of particular importance as the town green and historic buildings provide a historic focus for the entire town and bring awareness to the many notable events of the Revolutionary War. The Roger Sherman Parsonage at 480 Old Post Road is of exceptional importance in our neighborhood, and it is a distinctive architectural example of the Federal style. Since June 2020, the owners of the Sherman Parsonage have applied for the same certificate appropriate at least 4 times. According to HGC minutes and records, they've continued to violate their terms of approvals and then seek a certificate of appropriateness from the HGC for the work done in violation. From their initial application for a pool fence in June 2020, they have erected fences based on their own preferences while willfully ignoring the parameters set forth by the HGC. When the owners were told to move the picket fences to the back edge of the property line as initially approved, the fences were moved back but not in line with the house and garage, as they said they would do, and as they said they did do in their 10/7/20 application. In September 2020, they were told they needed to submit elevation drawings, which they did not do, and today they returned to get approval for an arbor and fence already installed inappropriately. Additionally, on 10/7/2020, the owners received HGC approval to install bluestone steps from the existing walkway down to the fence between the house and garage. As you can see from the above photo, the fence was brought up to the top of the steps instead. The fence should have been installed in line with the back of the garage with another piece of fence straight back from the corner of the house and then equally joined with the gate in the middle, but pushed back so that it was in visual alignment. The chain link fence along the east side of the property, which borders the driveway at 450 Old Post Road, was specifically forbidden to be removed without prior HGC approval. June 11, 2020, this rule was ignored. The chain link was torn down and then replaced with a 6-foot-high solid board fence from the back edge of the property to the street. Only after neighbors complained during the actual installation did they lower the fence to 4 feet from the front line to the edge of the covered portico. This entire cedar fence on the east side of the property has never been approved and is in violation. The owners complain of lack of privacy as they have a swimming pool, but privacy issues are not a basis for hardship. Landscaping and shrubbery have been used successfully against the backdrop of the old existing chain link fences dividing many of our properties. If you look, you will see numerous old chain link fences along the Old Post Road. I counted 12 today. Paul and Stacy Fama at 455 Old Post replaced their 3-foot chain link border fence with an appropriately sized picket fence, which abuts the front wrought iron fence. This would be appropriate at 480 Old Post Road from the front property line fence, where it would abut the same style fence in front to the back line of the house, where the higher picket fence was originally approved to be located. Currently, there currently there is their inappropriate 4'6" solid fence, which is the most significant portion of the cedar fence at issue. The arbor that they forgot to apply for when they erected their picket fence is also not appropriate to a federal style house, especially as it is currently situated between the front of the house and garage and the front of the garage, and is prominently visible from the street. Possible use for the arbor would be to move it to the backyard near to the pool. The inability and continued failure of the Bhutanese to comply correctly with the HGC's rules and Connecticut statutory regulations, section 7-147 of the CT general statutes, undermines the very nature and process of going before the Historic District Commission. I am not trying to be punitive to these neighbors. I am only asking that they be required to respect the historic designation of our district and be required to follow the rules as we all have done. Thank you for your time and consideration. Sincerely, Ann Jones. Dear Commissioner, Cliver, and board members, my name is Stephen Ramsey. My wife and I have resided on the Old Post Road in a historic house built in 1844. I'm writing today in regard to the pending application before you today, and as an attempt one more time to gain approval for a non-conforming fence and arbor at 480 Old Post Road. I am requesting that my remarks be read at the hearing today and added to the record of this proceeding. The request to install an eastern boundary portion of the Bhutanese cedar fence should be denied by the commission because it is not in compliance with historic district rules. The owner had requested and received approval to install a pool code fence, which consisted of adding mesh to the existing chain link fence. They were told to come back to the HCC if they intended to remove the chain link fence. Neither of these things happened. Instead, they took it upon themselves to remove the chain link and install a 6-foot solid board fence from the front sidewalk to the back property boundary line of their property. At the same time, they also violated previous approval for the locations of their picket fence and added a non-conforming arbor to the gate. After several complaints, they moved the picket fence back from the front of the house, but not to the prior approved position of alignment with the back line of the house. Today, the applicant comes before you yet again to seek approval for the already installed arbor and the newly erected non-approved cedar fence. The owners claim elevation problems and privacy issues are the reasons for this nonconformance, and yet no elevation drawings were ever provided, even though they were requested. There has been no hardship to the applicants here. The claim that a need for privacy justifies building a non-conforming structure is insufficient to allow applicants to continue to be in violation of the requirements of the historic district. If an unsupported claim of privacy was sufficient reason to violate the rules, every house on the Old Post Road will make a similar claim, thus destroying the historic nature of the neighborhood. The applicants were charged with knowledge that they had obligations to comply with historic district rules when they bought their property, and if not then, they certainly had full knowledge of the requirements when they applied to pave their gravel driveway. They had pretended to follow the rules when in fact they're seeking personal variances. Their applications have been denied and resubmitted in one form or another several times. They have built what they wanted to, knowing that they were in violation of the ruling by the commission. This applicant should not now be able to assert that they should be able to leave the non-conforming structure in place because it poses hardship to remove it. It would have been less expensive done correctly and thoughtfully the first time, and there would not be a continuance of these issues. The commission has some simple questions they must answer. Number one, do the rules matter? Number two, should an applicant who was denied permission be rewarded for ignoring the rules of the HGC by getting a pass on building it anyway? Three, has the applicant's claim of privacy been substantiated in any way? And is there any claim that the privacy of the applicant is at risk? Number four, if the commission chooses not to enforce its rulings and allows knowing violations to continue, how can it enforce its rulings in other cases? There should be a simple and straightforward decision. The applicants knowingly violated the rules of the commission. They should not be rewarded for their refusal to abide by the decisions of the HGC. The HCC and the public have a strong interest in the fair application of the Commission's rules and the enforcement of the violations of those rules. See CT General Statute, Chapter 97A, Section 7-147G and H. The applicants need to consult with the HCC and provide detailed plans and elevations to determine what is acceptable going forward. An ad hoc approach after the fact, such as this, is harmful to the integrity of our historic district and does not foster good relations within the community. There have been many new homeowners moving into our area, and they will be led by the outcome of this decision. Sincerely, Steve Ramsey. And those are the letters regarding your application.
Yeah, so as far as the fence is concerned, we moved the fence, the picket fence, back per whatever we were told, right? I hear some of the stuff in there about.
I know the picket fence was moved back and it was approved. But the arbor has not been approved, and the eastern plank fence has not been approved.
So, okay, I mean, what do you recommend? We need
you're going to have to come back.
We need the, Adam, we need the cedar fence in the back of the house where the pool is, right? That's not, there was a black chain link fence there that was complete visible from the street. So it wouldn't meet pool code. It was, as the Wingate said, it was not only that, it was also falling apart. So we replaced that with the cedar fence.
Without approval. That's the issue.
I remember very clearly having this conversation at prior meetings of the Historic District Commission, saying that our neighbors are so happy, they're so grateful that we've replaced this fence, and we're going to put the cedar fence on the east side of the house. It was because it wasn't. Because we were replacing the chain link fence, and I don't know. I guess it wasn't in not something that we actually applied for. But when you came and visited us as well, it was in there. I'm not blaming you. All I'm saying is that
I know
it was all.
This is the Vikram. Listen. Also, that June meeting was the first meeting we did online. Okay, and I think it's that the virtual meetings has made it sort of difficult for us to keep track of what's going on and what's on the applications, and it's been a work in progress. And so I think your application was one where maybe you thought we discussed it in the meeting, but it wasn't on the application. And I have to go back and look at the minutes to see exactly what happened. But from other people's accounts, what was approved was the chain link fence with a mesh that was supposed to be put on it. And I know you may have discussed taking down the chain link fence and putting up a cedar fence, but you never came in and applied for it. So it may have been something that we discussed, but it was clearly never applied for and approved. So now you're gonna have to do it after the fact. I mean, right now, tonight we're discussing the small section of cedar fence that's an issue, and the front on that, and extending from that eastern section of board fence, and then the arbor. Those are the two issues tonight that we're going to vote on. But you will have to come back for that eastern fence and decide. I hope you put an application next month. And you're obviously you're probably going to put an application in to remove that chain link fence that's already removed, and build this fence that's existing. So now existing. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I
so that's where we stand with that.
At no point is this me trying to work around the system or anything like that. Please take a look at the minutes, and you will see that we actually discussed it. And I clearly remember one of the commissioners even saying, "Yeah, it's not even a question. We can't have you put the chain link fence back. We're much happier with the cedar fence." Those were the words, and
Well,
you'll find it in the.
that was regarding the, yeah, no, that was regarding the small section in the front that we're talking about tonight.
Right.
The way it meets up with because we had 3 different types of fence intersecting on the post road.
Correct.
That was, and it wasn't considering the whole property line, that whole right side property line. That's what we were talking about when.
Okay, so just so I understand, the next month I need to put in an application to take out the chain link fence along the eastern side of the house and replace the chain link fence with a pool code cedar fence.
Oh, yeah, whatever you want to call it. I mean, it's clearly high enough to be pool code compliant. I mean,
so okay, yeah, that's no problem. Okay. But if I mean, considering the letters that you've read, if I put cedar fence, are you saying that the cedar fence is probably not going to be approved if we put in an application? I mean, I don't want to waste everybody's time.
I can't answer that for you. I mean, it's you know, I mean, it's not up to me, it's up to the commission. So we're going to have to discuss it and take into account your neighbors' concerns, because they do have valid concerns. You know, they're concerned about the street, the way the fences appear on the streetscape and how it's affecting the neighborhood. So we need to take that into consideration, and, you know, you might have to take some of it down, but I can't answer that.
So I'm just trying to understand, if I put in the application for the fence as it is now, it's probably not going to be approved, is what we're thinking. What is going to be approved?
I can't answer that. I mean, if you'd like, we can talk about it, you know.
Okay. Okay.
After the meeting, you know, feel
All
free
right,
to call me and we can discuss it further.
Okay.
You know,
Well,
and I'll see what I can do.
I'll wait for the letter from this meeting and then figure out a way to move forward.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. So the hearing's closed. Unless, does anybody else have any comments? Art, Alyssa, Jim? No comment. Okay. Okay, then the hearing's closed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Vikram. Excuse me 1 second. Sorry, that dog barking in the background going nuts. Okay.
No problem.
Next item on the agenda is Michael Latifi, 1170 Hillside Road in Fairfield, for property located at 1170 Hillside Road in Fairfield, and the application is to remove existing asphalt roof and to new cedar roof.
Hello, I'm Bob Janeski. I represent the homeowner agent, and I work for Home Exteriors, who are going to do the work on the roof. Right now, we have an existing asphalt roof that the homeowner wants removed and have a wood cedar pressure treated put on, so that he conforms more to what the neighborhood is. All the houses around them have got wooden roofs, more or less. It would involve the stripping of the existing roof down to the bare wood, and of course examining the existing house to make sure we don't have any water damage or anything, and then go ahead with the application of the wood roof. Would you like a description of what would be done to the application, or? Is it just the fact of that we're supplying a Canadian pressure treated wood that has a 50-year warranty that we give with it? We've used it in several locations in Fairfield County. And it's got a 5.5-inch exposure. I'm not sure of how much information you're looking at, if you want to know what the underlayment and all that process is.
No. We're concerned about the finished look and the material. And I brought up the application just to show pictures of the house and the existing roof.
Yeah, the two houses
Mark,
up the
any
street from
questions?
excuse me, the two houses up the street have the same type of wood roof on it. That's where he got the idea.
Okay. Mark, do you have any questions? These are? No. Art, do you have any questions? Alyssa, do you have any questions?
I do not have any questions.
No questions? Jim, do you have any questions?
No questions, thank you.
None for me, Adam.
Okay, thanks, Art. Bob, I don't have any questions either. And I did not receive any letters in favor of this application, and I did not receive any letters opposing this application. So the hearing's closed. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you, and thank you for all your help. I appreciate it.
No problem. Next item on the agenda is Gerald and Gabrielle Berto, 494 Harper Road in Southport, for property located at 494 Harper Road in Southport. This item is seeking for a change in a previously approved certificate of appropriateness for the gate on the property.
Hi, Adam. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah? Okay, good. I never know what combination of mute and unmute works. I am Christina Gates. I'm the landscape architect representing Jerry and Gabby Berto at 494 Harper Road. As Adam described, I am back here requesting a reconsideration of the conditions of approval issued by the commission at the last hearing regarding the entrance gate, which I designed. As I mentioned, Alyssa, I'm not sure if you were here at the last meeting. As I mentioned, the gate that we designed was inspired by the existing lattice at the rear of the property. And it had become covered in snow in the winter. It created a beautiful silhouette. And it was the inspiration of this gate. I often try to draw inspiration from the architecture and the site in my designs, but also be thoughtful to the historic district itself. I'm going to share my screen so we can look at some details of the gate. Screen. Share. Okay, wrong application. Down. There we go. Okay, here we are. Sorry, and go here. This is the gate. In the previous meeting, there was a discussion about whether this gate was appropriate per the guidelines as stated in the HDC handbook on page 60 under Stonewalls and driveway entry gates and piers. That section mostly, well, it applies to entry gates and piers. That's what it talks about. In that section, item G was brought up where it says the gate height should be equal to or slightly lower than the adjacent stone wall. In my reading of the guidelines, I didn't think that that would apply to this type of gate. That's why it's higher. It wasn't a blatant disregard of the guidelines. It was just not my interpretation that that driveway gate guideline had anything to do with this type of pedestrian gate and adjacent fencing. On the next section is the guideline that addresses the fencing, which is on page 62. And in that section, there's no mention of gate height in relation to existing fencing. So just to bring that up, so that's part of why I'm back here, because I know the guidelines are really meant for all of us to try to still be creative, but maintain the integrity of the historic district. So I did go back to that section, Stonewall's, driveway, entry, gates, and piers, and I did look at some of the suggested guidelines. And in that, they say that they would like people to consider historical precedent, the type of gate, the scale, and the height. Now, again, this is in the stone walls and driveway entry gates, but if we were to kind of work with those guidelines, I did consider historical precedent. I have brought forward some images of fencing in Southport Village. We can zoom in. These are all gates with adjacent fencing where the center pedestrian gate is higher than the adjacent fencing on either side. Some instances it's very slight, and some instances it's more dramatic. But these are all gates that do have that said condition. So there is a precedent for that. There also is a precedent for the driveway gate itself to be higher. This is a gate on Harper Road across from the green. This is a gate at the base of Harper Road. You can see the gate is higher. Both of these conditions have a driveway that's sloping up, so the gates are probably listed higher because you have to open in. So again, it's part of the condition of the site, which I believe the commission always takes into consideration. Another guideline for this is a picture of the existing house and the existing gate. Another consideration in the handbook is the type of gate. We proposed wood. I think wood is very appropriate here. The previous fencing at this home was wood, so we did wood. And then another consideration is scale and height. I drew probably 10 plus different versions of this gate. And as you can imagine, as you stretch a lattice in and out and up and down, it changes this diamond shape. And so in considering that, as well as considering the width of the bluestone path, the existing bluestone path, which is beautiful, they're huge pieces of bluestone, the gate needs to be at least 3.5 feet wide. This is a 3-story house. It's very high. It sits up probably 2 feet below, higher than the existing sidewalk here. So the house has kind of high, large presence. And so part of the design of this gate is to have that hierarchy of the house coming down to the gate. Instead of having a short, fat, squat gate, these proportions I feel are much more in keeping with the architecture of the house. And it does create that hierarchy of importance instead of having one long, even gate. So all of those things are things that I considered in the design of this gate. And I feel like they are in keeping with the guidelines of the Historic District Commission Handbook. So with that, I come back respectfully requesting that you would reconsider approving this gate as originally designed, which I think is thoughtful not only to the architecture of the home, but to the guidelines, and still maintains the integrity of the Historic District Commission, and is similar in precedent to other gates in the area. So at this time, I'd be happy to continue the discussion with you about this or answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Christina. Art, do you have any questions?
No, very persuasive presentation. Thank you.
Melissa, questions?
One quick question. I think I missed it. You said the inspiration for the lattice comes from something in the backyard. Could you clarify that for me, please?
Yeah, right here. See this? This is existing lattice in the rear porch of the back of the house, which goes along Rose Hill Road. It's a corner lot. And there is that diamond-shaped lattice. And in the winter, the snow fell into that lattice and created this really beautiful silhouette, which is where I drew the inspiration of the gate shape.
Thank you.
Jim, do you have any questions?
I'm at a disadvantage. I have no video. Could you describe how what you want differs from what we approved?
Sure, I'd be happy to. So I believe you were at the last presentation last month.
Yes.
Right.
Right.
We are replacing, or we're putting up existing fencing in the front. We're replacing it with what was there before. That fencing is about 42 inches high. And so my gate that's adjacent to that fencing is 6 inches higher than the adjacent fencing. And the commission last month, sorry?
So you're going to have a 48-foot high gate in a 42-foot high fence.
Inch.
It's 48 inches high. Yep.
Right.
Well, no. Yeah. So it's a 6 inch difference. So the commission had felt that per the guidelines that the gate needed to be the same height as the fence. And what I'm discussing here today is that I don't feel that those guidelines are applicable to this condition, nor is there a precedent in town for. Does that explain your question?
No further.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you very much.
And I don't have any questions, Christina. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Sure. I didn't receive any letters opposing this application. I did not receive any letters supporting this application. So the hearing's closed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next application is the Caddis Main Trust, Old Post Road, Fairfield, 06834, for property located at, what's the address? It's Caddis Main Trust, 996 Old Post Road in Fairfield. And this is another seeking a minor change to the pre-approved garage door. We approved a new garage back in, I think it was December last year, and they want to come back and revise the size of the garage door. So. Is someone here to represent Caddis Main Trust? And Caddis, I see you here, but you're muted.
Does that work?
Hello? Yes, hello?
Hello? Hello? I can hear you. Hello? Hi.
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, okay,
Yep.
great. Thank you. Right, so we, when we had the original drawings
Can you
that you
please
guys
just,
approved.
can you just identify yourself for the record, please?
Sure, sorry. My name is Ann Cadis and I live at 996 Old Post Road. We had the original drawings, you guys approved an 8-foot wide garage door. And when we were going through the building application process, we found out that our cars likely won't fit through those size doors. So we have to adjust to 9 feet. But the design is the same.
Okay. I'm going to pull up your drawings for you. Does anyone have any questions first? Art, do you have any questions?
No, Adam.
Okay. Jim, questions?
No questions.
Alyssa?
No question, thanks.
Okay, and I do have a few questions. I mean, the drawing that you submitted has a lot of differences from what was approved.
Well, I don't know that there are a lot of
Like the
differences, but okay, we had,
Okay, here, I'll
it's been
pull
a
up your,
process. It's been a process. We had one architect who gave us the drawings that we had in December, and then she was no longer able to continue with the project once it went to the building department and they had more questions. So she forwarded her design to another architect who made the building code drawings. That's what I had submitted to you. And I mean, my directions to him were that they were supposed to be, I'm not an expert, so my directions to him were that it was supposed to be the same design, just with more specific information that the building department was asking for. So I don't, if there are changes,
well,
I'm not aware.
I'll show you the differences. I mean,
Okay.
so, and I mean, the whole idea was you're replacing the garage, basically what was there, right?
Right, yeah, I don't want anything different than what was there.
Okay. Well, I mean, as you can you see the drawings
Yeah,
that I have on my screen?
yes.
So, you know, the garage doors, this has like a curved top to it. You know, and the proportions of the lights are completely different. The panels are going different directions. The side door is, you know, this is a 9 grid. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like the drawing that this drawing that you presented better, but the light is over the door and it's a different type of light.
Which is just, I
So
believe,
I'm
his
seeing,
drawing,
you know,
because I don't have any, he and I never said specifically what type of light, because I said they should all be the exact same thing as the original drawing. So I didn't even notice that he put it over the door. And the door that we have, that's the one thing I was able to save from when the tree fell on the garage, was that wooden door. So I already have, it's a cedar door with, well, I'm sorry.
what does it look like? More like the one on the left or the one on the right?
The one on the right. I could show you a picture of it. Well, I can't do that.
And then there's a louver in the gable.
It's certainly not 9 panels. It's like, it's an old fashioned, like, one window and a panel door.
Okay.
I'm sorry, what was the next question?
Well, the other question is they're showing PVC trim, 1x3, 1x8 PVC rake trim.
Yeah, that's not supposed to be there.
And you were approved that. Okay.
Wood.
Yeah, you were approved to have
cedar.
wood.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't even see. I didn't even know that. Okay.
Unfortunately, I mean, you're gonna have to come back. You know, if it was a minor change, like you were just changing, you know, the doors from 8-foot doors to 9-foot doors, and they're exactly the same. But the drawings that you just submitted, we can't approve these because they're completely different than what was approved originally.
Okay. Now.
So if you want to make these changes, and I think, you know, to be honest, I think the drawings that you're presenting here now, I prefer those to the ones you presented in December. And if you prefer this look, then I would suggest that you apply for a full application again and just say, you know, it's not a minor change anymore. We're doing more significant change. So I have to.
Okay, so just so I'm clear, when I go back to the new architect, the door, you're saying that.
Well, you just want to make sure whatever you're going to build, you want to get approval from us, you know. And so if you're changing the door, if the door is going to be the existing door, then just make sure that whatever you draw in the elevation, that it looks close to that door. And if the garage doors, you want these garage doors, then that's great. So you can, I mean, I think you can do whatever you want. And if you want to have louvers in the gables.
The issue is the PVC materials. Well, I mean, aside from the drawings being different. Yeah. Okay. Okie doke.
Yeah, the PVC is definitely.
I didn't even notice that. I would have gone back prior to wasting your time. I'm sorry. I would have had him change that out if I had noticed that. So I apologize for that, but I will be back next month.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
So the hearing's closed. Thank you, Ann.
Thanks a lot. Okay, bye-bye.
Right. Okay, we'll move on to the consideration of public hearing items. The first item is the Town of Fairfield, 75 Mill Plain Road in Fairfield for property located at 785 Harper Road in Southport to extend existing kayak storage rack 9 feet and add 12 additional kayak storage spaces at yard. Can I get a motion?
Move to approve.
Okay, Jim moves to approve. Second?
I'll second.
Art seconds. Discussion? No discussion, all in favor?
Yes.
Melissa? No. Motion passes unanimously. Next item on the agenda is Old South Road, LLC 171 Old South Road for property located at 171 Old South Road for a change in previously approved columns. Can I get a motion?
Motion to approve as presented.
Motions to approve as presented. Can we get a second?
Second that.
Yes.
Alyssa seconds. Discussion? No discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
All opposed? No abstentions. The motion passes unanimously. Next item on the agenda is Matthew and Amanda Pardee, 581 Pequot Avenue for property located at 581 Pequot Avenue. The application is for A, second floor addition, B, remove portion of existing stairs, and C, AC unit with evergreen plantings.
Adam, I'll move to approve those items as presented.
Okay. Art moves to approve as presented, and Jim seconds. think Jim got the second. Discussion? No discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Yes.
Yes, all opposed? No opposed, motion passes unanimously. Next item on the agenda, Richard Mervis, 249 Old South Road in Southport for property located at 249 Old South Road in Southport. The application is to install a 6-foot cedar privacy fence along east and north property lines.
Motion to approve as presented.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Alyssa motions to approve as presented, and Jim seconds. Discussion? No discussion, all in favor?
Yes.
All opposed? None opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Next item is Mr. and Mrs. Robert Wright, 260 Harper Road in Southport for property located at 260 Harper Road in Southport for A, new path lighting, B, new landscape lighting, and C, change selected items of exterior trim on new addition from painted wood to painted PVC.
Adam, I'll move for discussion purposes to approve those items as presented.
Okay. Second?
For discussion purposes, yes, I'll second it, but I have
Okay,
some
discussion?
concerns about the PVC issue is, you addressed.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think we're probably going to agree that's all, that can't go.
Right. Okay.
Adam, do you mind, just for the purpose of the discussion, to share the actual items with us?
Sure.
So we can reference them?
Oops, this is not the right one. 260.
Yeah, there you go. Actually, the ones that are written on the application.
Oh, you want to see this?
Yeah, so I path lighting.
Yeah, they reduced the path, like the landscape lighting quite a bit. But I'm not sure it's enough.
Can I ask a clarifying question since I wasn't here last month? From what I gathered, they presented this last month and the feedback was reduce the number of lights?
Yes. I can pull that one up too. Hang on if you're.
So then I guess just procedurally, if the feedback that we gave last month was you just have to reduce the number of lights, can we then deny this application on another reason? Like if we didn't notice something last month, could you deny it? Or if we asked them to do one thing and they did it, is it supposed to be a fait accompli?
Well, I know there was discussion about the uplighting in general and tree lighting not being appropriate, period. So, I mean, personally, I mean, I understand the argument, for the lights that they were trying to make and referencing, past HCC positions on lighting. And given the amount of light that's on the property already, and the fact that there's uplighting and all that, but I feel like the commission has taken the position that uplighting or tree lighting is inappropriate, as long as I've been on the commission.
I'm sorry, you said inappropriate, like we don't approve it?
Yeah, path lighting is okay, you know, for safety reasons, obviously, is the whole purpose. But they, you know, these lights are going to be up in the tree shining down. I know they're not going to be shining, you know, out on the street or in the neighbor's yard or anything like that, but it'll be illuminating the property. And it is, you know, when you drive by Harper Road, it's really close to the road. I mean, the site plan doesn't do it justice, and definitely doesn't feel like 44 feet.
Yeah, a few things in Southport are far from the road.
Yeah. And they're you know, it's a lot of path lighting already. You know, these BU lights, what are they? That's more tree lighting, I think. BU, yeah, BU. This is like a bullet uplight. That's you know, in these trees here. So I mean, we could deny the without prejudice, you know, because of the uplighting, the tree lighting, I think.
So those lights would be not illuminating the tree, but shining down onto the property to illuminate the ground, but not walking areas. Am I understanding that correctly?
Both. It does.
Okay.
They're doing both. There's one. The BU fixtures are actually uplights.
Okay.
This is the BU fixture, and it shines up into the trees.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And then there are other. Then these fixtures are facing down. So yeah. So this tree will be lit up. These two trees will be lit up. These will be facing down. Those are right on the road. And it's really hard to tell what effect they're going to have. I know they're low intensity, but they're, I mean, like this tree here, I think he shot a picture of, in his presentation, he showed a picture of it. But it's a big tree, it's tall, you know, so that light's going to be way up there, unless it's, I don't know how you're going to get it up, you know, I don't get it.
So yeah, I'd be inclined to. I think I deny the PVC with prejudice. I also would deny, you know, based on what you said, deny the uplights and the tree lights with prejudice.
Okay, the landscape lighting. I guess we can approve the path lighting. Is I see the reason for path lighting. You know, that's
I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah. So you want to revise your motion to?
Yeah, I would. I would withdraw my motion and resubmit, you know, an amended motion to approve A, but to deny B and C with prejudice.
Okay. With prejudice. Tim, you want to second that?
Sure, I'll second that. Clarifying question, with prejudice means that they cannot then come back and revisit that issue?
Correct.
Yeah, I seconded it.
Yeah, I think Jim was the second on that, Alyssa. Basis. Okay. And so, all in favor?
Yes.
All opposed? No opposed. So the motion passes unanimously. Next item on the agenda is Preet and Vikram Bhutanese, 480 Old Post Road, for property located at 480 Old Post Road in Fairfield, for A, arbor on gate to backyard, and B, remove chain link fence and replace with cedar fence 4 foot high.
I move deny it. That was my perception
this-
where the discussion ended. So I move to deny the the arbor and the fence.
With or without prejudice, Jim?
I'm not sure what that means, I'm afraid.
Well, if you deny it without prejudice, it means that they can come back and resubmit something that we may or may not approve. If you say with prejudice, then they can't put, new fences, they can't come before us on those issues. My suggestion would be to deny it without prejudice.
And I'll agree with that.
Okay. We have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, discussion? No discussion?
If
So
I
we're
understood
thinking that-
correctly, sorry, go ahead.
There was a good discussion during the meeting, and
Okay.
I think we were close to consensus with him.
We didn't have any discussion about the arbor during the hearing.
But the arbor was never approved, so
That's true, it was not approved.
And it's inconsistent with federal architecture.
Okay.
Based on what you said, aren't we expecting them to come before us again next month with a petition for the changes they've already made?
That's what I heard.
Right. So if we deny without prejudice, then we're just we're tabling the issue until next month when they specify what it is they want to do,
correct.
right? Okay.
Yes, that's correct.
Perfect.
Okay, so let's take a vote. All in favor?
Yes.
All opposed? None opposed, motion passes. And the next item on the agenda is Michael Latifi, 1170 Hillside Road, for property located at 1170 Hillside Road to A, remove existing asphalt roof, and B, new cedar roof.
Let me move
A motion to approve.
Okay, I'll second that.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
I'll submit as a motion to approve as presented, and Jim said he'd second.
Okay. Any discussion? No
No, it
discussion.
sounds very, non-controversial.
Okay. All in favor?
Yes.
All opposed? None opposed. Motion passes. Next item is Geraldine and Gabrielle Berto, 494 Harper Road in Southport, property located at 494 Harper Road in Southport, and that is for minor changes to the approved gate.
I'll also make a motion to approve as presented.
Okay. Second?
And I'll second that. I have one
Jim
question,
seconds.
though, if I may.
Sure.
I couldn't see the video of the images. How do you folks feel about the images that you presented of gates higher than adjacent fences?
I think what she's presenting was appropriate. Her argument is sound, and I think last month, it was thrown out there that that the gate shouldn't be higher than the adjacent fence, and that was underneath. That was in the driveway gate section of the handbook, so it really didn't apply. Although, and she didn't have a chance to. It didn't come up during the hearing. It only came up, during the deliberations afterwards in the closed session. So she couldn't even defend her the gate at that point. So, I mean,
So you agree
it's fine.
that the images of higher gates are appropriate? And
yeah, she showed images. She showed
Okay.
images of other fences and gates where the gate is slightly higher than the adjacent, fences. So it sets a precedence that it happens all over the commission. So
No,
I have a question about,
I thought
sorry.
she's totally right on that. No, I
What's that,
agree
Alyssa?
with everyone. I think she's right. I think Christina's
Yeah.
right on that.
I had a question
Melissa?
about the design of the gate. I thought it looked cool and it was
Yeah.
inspired by something from around back. Is that up for question? Like, do we need to consider whether that is in keeping with like what a gate would look like?
Well, the gate was already approved last
Oh,
month.
the design was already approved. Okay.
The design was approved with the stipulation that it be lower, no higher than the adjacent gate. And so she's coming back and she just wants to change it so that it's higher.
Fine.
So she came back
I
and
don't have
wanted
a
to
problem.
make her point. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Looks fine.
So all in favor?
Yes.
All opposed? None opposed. So passes unanimously. And the next item is Caddis Main Trust. She don't have it for some reason. $669 Harper Road. No, it's not 69 Harper Road. It's 720.
996.
I'm in the wrong. Yes, 996 Old Post Road. For revisions to the garage doors, I think we need to just deny this without prejudice because there's too many inconsistencies and changes on the plan, so she needs to come back.
I'll second that.
Can we get I'm not going to make the initial motion. I think I'm just a suggestion. Can someone else make the motion?
I'll move to deny without prejudice.
Okay, thank you. Second?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Or seconds. All in favor?
Yes.
All opposed? None opposed? Motion passes. Okay. Need to approve the minutes from 3/11. Art and Jen and myself were here. So let's see, you're not voting on the minutes. Can we get a motion to approve minutes?
I'll move to.
Yeah, I'll make that motion, Adam, to approve the minutes from last month as presented.
And I'll
Okay,
second.
Art motions and Jim seconds. Thank you. All in favor?
Yes.
All opposed? None opposed, so the motion passes. Chairman report, we have repairs on 647 Harper Road to replace the awning in kind. 171 Old South Road, rebuild existing chimney with like materials. 207 Main Street, repair Stonewall and replace cedar fence in kind. 33 Main Street, repair landing. 248 Old Post Road, replace third floor windows in kind. And 487 Old Post Road, replace sections of rotted fence in kind. We had, as you guys are aware of now, 260 Harper Road was the AZAC trim was a violation. Although not issued a violation, I think they've come to this meeting to have it try and get it approved, which was not approved. And then 171 Old South Road, also AZAC trim. They were not actually issued a violation, but they were made aware of their violation. Old business, the handbook is still out there, and Darren has been doing some work on it, but still work in progress. So if anyone has any suggestions, please email her. And new business, I have no new business. Anyone else have any business they'd like to bring up this time? All right, and I think we're finished. Just need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Seconded.
Thank you, Jim. A second. Art seconds. All in favor?
Yes.
All right. Motion passes. We are adjourned.
Thank you, Adam. Good job.
Good.